Right now in Rome, Italian Open organizers are completely panicking. They just had to abruptly move a routine first-round match to a massive stadium. They did this all because a 20-year-old ranked outside the top 40 is selling out seats faster than Iga Swiatek. You heard that right. A player barely breaking into the mainstream is generating social media engagement 5 to 10 times higher than the biggest names in the sport. Arina Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek are global icons, yet they are being outdrawn by someone most casual fans are just starting to discover. The situation on the ground is pure chaos. We are talking about a total logistical nightmare for the event staff. Tickets evaporated in minutes. The side courts are completely overflowing with desperate fans. People are crowding the fences and standing on chairs just to get a glimpse of her practice sessions. Let us talk about the specific numbers because they are absolutely mind-boggling. When the Italian Open posted a standard update about her arrival, the internet exploded. The comments, the shares, the pure volume of digital traffic was something tournament officials had never seen for a first-round player. It is creating a bizarre reality where the top-ranked players in the world can walk through the grounds relatively unnoticed, while a player ranked 42 needs a security escort just to get to the locker room safely. It is not just a few dedicated supporters showing up with polite applause. It is a massive wave of human energy that the tournament system was never prepared to handle. Security details had to be doubled. Staff members are running around trying to figure out how to manage a crowd that rivals a Grand Slam final. You might think this is just a fun story about a popular underdog having a good week, but the craziest part about this crowd frenzy is not what is happening in the stands. The real story is the massive financial shockwave she is quietly sending through the entire WTA boardroom. Tournament directors do not usually sweat over a round of 128 matchup. Sponsors usually wait until the quarterfinals to pay any real attention, but right now, everyone in power is scrambling. They are looking at the analytics and realizing that the power dynamics of global tennis are shifting right before their eyes. We are witnessing an unprecedented phenomenon, and it all revolves around one name, Alex Eala. To truly understand the absolute insanity of this moment, you have to look at the bigger picture of professional women tennis. For decades, this sport has been an exclusive club. It has been completely dominated by European and American powerhouses. The narrative is almost always the same. The champions come from the same prestigious academies and the same wealthy countries. Sure, we have seen talented players from Asia before, but they usually have to fight twice as hard just to get a fraction of the primetime media coverage. Then Alex Eala arrives and shatters the entire script. She is no longer just that cute prospect with potential. She is not a novelty act playing for experience on the big stage. Over the past few months, she has evolved into an absolute force on the court. Just days ago in Madrid, she sent a terrifying message to the rest of the tour. She stepped onto the European clay and absolutely dismantled Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. We are talking about a former world number 11. Pavlyuchenkova is a seasoned veteran who knows exactly how to break down young players and expose their weaknesses. But Alex Eala did not just scrape by with a lucky win. She dominated the match. She showed a level of tactical brilliance and raw physical power that left the tennis world completely stunned. Think about the immense pressure of playing in Europe as an outsider. The clay courts of Rome are heavy, the weather is unpredictable, and the fans can be brutal if you do not perform. Many young players completely crumble under this specific type of stress. They let the legacy of the venue intimidate them. But Alex Eala embraces the chaos. She plays with a cold, calculating intensity that completely betrays her age. When she broke the serve of Pavlyuchenkova in Madrid, she did not over-celebrate. She just walked back to the baseline with a look that said she belonged exactly where she was. That quiet confidence is exactly what terrifies the top seeds. They watch her tape and realize they cannot rattle her mentally. That victory in Madrid changed everything. It flipped a switch in the minds of the fans, the media, and most importantly, her opponents. Alex Eala walked into Rome not as a hopeful underdog, but as a legitimate threat. The crowd in Italy is notoriously demanding. They know elite tennis, and they do not show up just to watch a polite warm-up match. They are flocking to her games because they want to see the establishment fall. They want to witness a challenger who is bold enough to disrupt the natural order of the tour. Every time she hits a lethal backhand down the line, you can feel the energy in the stadium shift. Her opponents are starting to feel the heavy pressure before they even step on the court. They know they are not just playing a rising star. They are playing a massive cultural movement. The atmosphere is electric. It feels less like an early round tennis match and more like a heavyweight championship fight. But as incredible as her on-court performance has been, her devastating tennis skills are actually the least interesting part of this story. While everyone is watching her fierce rallies, something much bigger is happening behind the scenes. The official tournament website traffic just spiked by over 400% in a single week. Broadcasters are staring at their screens in complete disbelief. The tennis establishment is terrified and the fans are absolutely loving it. If you are as fascinated by this massive shift in sports history as I am, make sure you join our community here so we can keep uncovering the truth behind these massive tennis milestones together. Here is what the broadcast cameras are not fully explaining to you. When Eala steps onto an Italian clay court, she practically brings an entire nation with her. If you watch the matches on television, you only see a very tight frame of the action. You see the perfectly manicured red clay, the white lines, and the two athletes facing off. You might hear the standard sounds of a professional tennis match, but you do not truly feel the ground shaking underneath the stadium. You do not experience the deafening, vibrating roar that erupts every single time her racket connects with the ball. To understand this incredible phenomenon, we have to talk about the secret weapon that European players simply do not possess. We are talking about the ultimate away home court advantage. Tennis is traditionally a very polite and aristocratic sport. Spectators usually sit quietly in their expensive seats, they clap respectfully after a long baseline rally, and they wait patiently for the umpire to call the score before making any noise. But the matches featuring Eala are destroying that old tradition entirely. Rome and its surrounding European cities happen to host a massive and deeply passionate Filipino community. These people in the stands are not wealthy tourists who flew in for a casual weekend vacation. These are hard-working locals who live in Italy, alongside thousands of others who are taking long train rides from Milan, Naples, and even across international borders just to witness history in the making. They are taking time off from their jobs and spending their hard-earned money to be there. They are transforming these quiet historical tennis venues into something that closely resembles a wild World Cup soccer match. Imagine the visual impact of this crowd. The secondary courts at the Italian Open are completely draped in national colors. You see endless waves of flags waving violently in the wind. You hear rhythmic, synchronized chants echoing loudly through the entire stadium complex. Every single point she wins is celebrated like she just secured a Grand Slam championship point. This level of sheer fanaticism is something the WTA Tour rarely ever sees outside of a major final featuring a massive hometown hero. But Eala is doing this on foreign soil. She is playing thousands of miles away from Manila, yet she is surrounded by an absolute fortress of relentless support. Now, I want you to put yourself directly in the shoes of her opponent for a moment. Imagine you are a seasoned European professional player. You have trained your whole life to maintain perfect mental focus on the court. But absolutely nothing prepares you for the psychological warfare of playing against an entire community of people. When you hit a beautiful cross-court winner, you are met with dead, heavy silence. The stadium feels completely empty for your achievements. But the second you miss a first serve or hit the ball out of bounds, the stadium absolutely erupts in joyous celebration. The pressure is completely suffocating. Your mistakes are magnified 100 times over. You are no longer just playing a tennis match against a 20-year-old prodigy. You are trying to defeat a massive, living organism that breathes fresh energy into her with every single point she plays. We saw this exact dynamic play out beautifully and brutally in Madrid just a few days ago. The raw crowd energy carried her through the absolute toughest moments of the match. When her veteran opponent tried to build momentum and take control, the relentless noise from the stands completely broke her concentration. It is an overwhelming wall of sound that disrupts the natural rhythm of the game. European players are highly conditioned to play in front of neutral, polite crowds who appreciate good tennis regardless of who wins. They become absolutely paralyzed when they face a hostile crowd that actively wants to see them fail on every single swing. This extreme level of fan loyalty creates a terrifying reality for anyone standing on the other side of the net. They cannot just outplay Eala with better technique. They have to survive the deafening noise, the endless chants, and the crushing weight of a nation willing her to victory. It is an absolute nightmare for her opponents on the court. But for the tournament sponsors watching from the luxury suites, it is a literal goldmine they never saw coming. This brings us to the actual boardroom panic happening behind closed doors. The Italian Open executives are looking at their digital analytics right now, and the numbers make absolutely no sense compared to traditional tennis metrics. For decades, the entire business model of women's tennis has been incredibly predictable. You market the top 10 players, you sell broadcast rights based on European and American television time zones, and you hope for a compelling final match to draw on the casual sports viewers. The early rounds of these tournaments are usually a complete financial dead zone. Nobody fights over the television rights for a routine round of 128 match. Until today, the economic shockwave hitting Rome right now is completely unprecedented in the modern era of the sport. Television networks across the Philippines and the entire Southeast Asian region are suddenly locked in vicious bidding wars. They are throwing massive amounts of USD at the tournament organizers just to secure the exclusive rights to broadcast her opening matches live. This breaks every single rule in the sports marketing playbook. Regional television networks do not normally empty their annual budgets for early tournament coverage, but they know exactly what they are buying this time. They are buying guaranteed, massive, and highly obsessive viewership numbers that rival major local sporting events. We are looking at a complete paradigm shift in how global tennis generates revenue. Social media engagement is the ultimate currency in modern sports, and Eala is currently richer than anyone else in the entire tournament draw. When the official tournament pages post a simple 10-second highlight video of her practice session, the engagement metrics completely destroy those of established Grand Slam champions. We are talking about 10 times the likes, 10 times the shares, and a comment section moving so incredibly fast that it crashes the social media feed. The algorithm is aggressively pushing her face to millions of screens across the globe because the interaction rate is completely off the charts. Before we look at the ultimate test happening tomorrow night, I really want to know what you think about this massive shift in power. Do you believe the traditional tennis establishment is truly ready to embrace this massive Asian audience, or will they try to force the sport back into its old European mold? Let me know your honest thoughts down in the comments, because the corporate panic we are seeing behind the scenes tells me the old system is completely terrified of this rapid change. The major corporate sponsors are definitely feeling the intense pressure to adapt immediately. Imagine being a luxury European brand that just spent millions of USD sponsoring the Italian Open. You bought premium billboard space around the court expecting to reach wealthy local residents and tourists. Suddenly, the television camera is constantly panning across a sea of passionate fans from a completely different demographic. You quickly realize you are missing out on a billion-dollar consumer market simply because your marketing team does not know how to speak to them. We are hearing wild reports of major European sponsors frantically scrambling to find Tagalog translators in Rome right now. They are desperately trying to negotiate regional advertising deals in the hotel lobbies before the next match begins. They are terrified of missing out on the biggest commercial opportunity the sport has seen in years. Eala has become the ultimate corporate bridge. She is effortlessly connecting the historic, aristocratic world of European clay courts with the explosive, youthful, and highly lucrative market of Southeast Asia. She is doing organically what an entire army of highly paid marketing executives failed to do over the last 20 years. She is making millions of new people care deeply about a random early-round match in Italy. This is no longer just a heartwarming story about a talented young athlete trying to climb the global rankings. This is the story of a rapidly moving financial empire that dictates the rules wherever it goes. She is forcing one of the oldest sports institutions in the world to rewrite their entire business model overnight. The tournament directors know it. The corporate sponsors know it. The television executives know it. This is not theory anymore. The ultimate test of this new empire is happening tomorrow night, and the entire tennis world is holding its breath. Tomorrow night, May 6th, she faces Magdalena Frech, and the stakes are ridiculously high. Organizers had to literally upgrade the court assignment just to handle the security and crowd control. This simple logistical change is the absolute ultimate proof of her unbelievable influence over the entire sport right now. We are no longer talking about social media hype or abstract financial projections cooked up in a corporate office. We are talking about concrete reality happening in real time on the ground in Italy. Take a very close look at the matchup on paper to truly understand the sheer madness of the situation. Magdalena Frech is ranked number 45 inches the entire world. She is a highly experienced, tactical player who knows exactly how to navigate these painfully slow, heavy clay courts. Under normal circumstances, a first-round match between the player ranked 42 and the player ranked 45 is a completely quiet affair. Usually, a few dozen local fans might sit lazily in the stands while the rest of the tennis world ignores it entirely to watch the top seeds practice. But absolutely nothing about this specific match is normal. The intense media pressure and the overwhelming crowd anticipation are completely transforming this early round game into something massive and terrifying. It currently carries the exact same heavy psychological weight as a Grand Slam semifinal. The local Italian organizers are in full crisis management mode right now. They looked at the projected attendance figures yesterday and immediately realized their original plan was a complete disaster waiting to happen. The secondary court they originally assigned for this match simply could not hold the sheer volume of fans pouring in from across Europe. The fences would literally collapse under the weight of the crowd. They were forced to make an unprecedented administrative decision. They upgraded the match to one of the largest stadiums on the entire grounds. They did this solely to ensure adequate security, prevent a dangerous situation, and maintain basic crowd control. Think deeply about what that actually means for the global sport of tennis. A player who has not even cracked the top 30 yet is single-handedly dictating the physical logistics of a major international event. The broadcast networks are treating this random opening match like a blockbuster movie premiere. Online viewership projections are indicating that this specific match will absolutely shatter every single streaming record ever recorded for an opening round at the Italian Open. People who do not even follow professional tennis are setting alarms on their phones just to watch her step onto the court. The casual sports fans are tuning in just to witness the sheer spectacle of the roaring crowd. She has completely transcended the sport itself to become pure box office gold. Think about the immense pressure resting squarely on the shoulders of Magdalena Frech. She is stepping onto the court knowing that millions of people actively want to see her fail. Every time she tosses the ball up to serve, she will hear the low, intimidating rumble of a crowd that heavily favors her opponent. She has to block out the noise, ignore the flying flags, and somehow focus on a bouncing yellow ball. It is a monumental task that breaks even the strongest veterans of the sport. The mental fortitude required just to survive the first set will be absolutely astronomical. The real secret here is the incredible momentum she is building with every single swing of her racket. Every single time she wins a point, the massive snowball gets bigger, heavier, and rolls faster. If she defeats Frech tomorrow night, she sends a terrifying shockwave directly up the tournament bracket. The top-seeded players are sitting in their luxury hotel rooms right now, watching the massive crowds gather on television. They are listening to the deafening chants echoing across the facility. They know exactly what is coming for them. They know that if they have to face her in the later rounds, they will not just be battling a very skilled opponent with a lethal backhand. they will be walking into an absolute psychological war zone. The energy is completely contagious. It is bleeding out of the stadium, infecting the entire city of Rome and traveling across the globe. And what happens if she actually wins this critical match? The implications are absolutely staggering. A victory tomorrow night does not just mess up the carefully planned tournament draw. It fundamentally changes the economic ceiling of the entire event. The merchandise tents will completely sell out of anything remotely related to her. The local restaurants and hotels will see a massive influx of spending from her traveling fan base. The organizers will have to rewrite their security protocols for the rest of the week, because the crowds will only grow larger and more intense. The ripple effect of a single victory will be felt in every single corner of the Italian Open. Eala is not just playing for ranking points anymore. She is practically rewriting the entire marketing playbook for the WTA Tour in real time. We are witnessing something that goes way beyond a single victory or a single clay court tournament. This beautiful explosion of popularity in Rome is a massive warning signal to the old tennis establishment. It proves permanently that the center of gravity in global sports is rapidly shifting towards Southeast Asia. For generations, talented athletes from that specific region were treated as secondary characters in a heavily European story. They were expected to be polite, play hard, smile for the cameras, and quietly exit the stage when the real stars arrive to claim the trophies. Those days are completely over. The explosive rise of this incredible player proves that Southeast Asian fans have the massive financial power, the relentless dedication, and the sheer numbers to completely dictate the future of the sport. They refuse to be ignored any longer by the major broadcasting networks. They are aggressively demanding primetime television slots for their local hero. They are completely hijacking the social media algorithms to ensure her face is plastered on every single screen. They are turning quiet, aristocratic clay courts into roaring cathedrals of fierce national pride. If she continues to push deep into this tournament, she will completely redefine what a global tennis superstar looks like in the year 2026. She is violently tearing down the invisible walls that have kept this sport so heavily restricted and exclusive for decades. This massive cultural shift is forcing the European media to completely change how they talk about tennis. For years, they focused all their analytical energy on players from their own backyards. Now, they are frantically researching Southeast Asian tennis history. They are desperately trying to understand the deep cultural significance of her incredible rise. They are bringing in new commentators, analyzing new data metrics, and realizing that they missed the biggest story in the sports world. She is not just winning tennis matches, she is actively educating the entire Western Hemisphere about the unstoppable power of her community. The corporate sponsors finally understand the new reality. They see the incredible engagement numbers. They hear the deafening roars from the crowd, and they realize their old marketing strategies are completely obsolete. The entire business model of women tennis must now revolve around this massive, highly lucrative new audience. We are watching the real-time birth of a massive athletic empire. The established order of the WTA Tour is crumbling before our very eyes, and something incredibly exciting, vibrant, and powerful is rising from the ashes to take its place. She is the undeniable catalyst for this massive global shift. The whole world is finally paying full attention to her every single move. Drop a comment below. How far do you think she will actually go in Rome? Make sure you are subscribed, because we are breaking down every single match of this historic run.